sun going down, and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round.
All right, finishing up with North Korea. The RAND Corporation, it's declassified. I've got it in my films. We've linked to it at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. The Club of Rome, the United Nations, the Carnegie Endowment for Peace, which their official founding documents from 90-something years ago say we want to stage wars to bring in world government to stop wars. And then the Nazis wanted a European Union, and then they merged with the U.S. and the British after the war in a deal to fight the Russians. And this is now mainstream European news. We reported this years ago in my films like Martial Law and then Endgame. Martial Law 5 years ago. Hard to believe that's 5 years ago. Seems like yesterday. But now it's mainstream news. We have the documents, but now it's mainstream news. Just Google Nazis Plan EU. They would say it's to stop another war, we've got to have a tyranny. And so they bragged that they would get a League of Nations out of World War I. That didn't work good. So they had World War II for the UN. The U.S. set that up at Presidio in San Francisco. So they're always criticizing the UN on our news, like the U.S. doesn't like it. The U.S. funds 60% of it, owns and runs the whole thing. When I say U.S., Anglo-American British Empire. So when I talk about Anglo-American British Empire, notice the Iranians are saying that. Notice the Russians are saying that. The Japanese are saying that. That's the terms worldwide. The terms I use here are used by anybody out there who's informed or in the diplomatic corps or historians or people that study geopolitical systems. This is all just 101, I'm saying. It's not some, gosh, that Alex is smart. I want to be clear. This is not rocket science. This is all public, but not popularly known. Just like it's absolute fact in any mainline textbook on precious stones, or any textbook on industrial minerals, that diamonds are barely semi-precious. You've got the scale of super precious, precious, semi-precious, down to stones that barely rate as semi-precious, and then non-precious stones, like non-polished granite or agate or something like that. They're barely even semi-precious. But no one knows that. I mean, because they're geographically limited to just a few places. One spot in Canada, Arkansas, notice those are environmental preserves. The government won't let you have it. It's a De Beers Oppenheimer monopoly. Notice there are diamonds in Australia. Those are government preserves, or only select corporations. And then in Africa. And then anybody that tries to dig a diamond without paying the globalists gets killed. And they make movies about blood diamonds, acting like people trying to smuggle diamonds out of the bad guys. We got to have a world government to stop them. See, I mean, that's how all this works. They'll show you slave camp movies with Leonardo DiCaprio and go, oh, man, we got to shut down these slave camps, when it's the rich bankers running the slave camps publicly and killing anybody that. But see, I said I get into news in North Korea and I'm off in diamonds. The point is, everything you've been taught is a lie. Everything that's reality is publicly available. It's just not on the news generally. So, North Korea threatens to harm U.S. if attacked, and the United States says they're going to stop the ship any day now, and we'll see if North Korea fires a nuke. And then you could say, well, they don't need to be shipping artillery to some terrorist group. But who gave them the nukes? Who gave Pakistan the nukes? It's like a month ago when they had the Pakistani president on TV. CIA already killed his wife, who was the president, Bhutto, and our media thought we were so dumb, they said she hit her head on the car. Then it turned out there's video of them shooting her, boom, 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 from about 20 feet away. She flies up against the car with bullet holes in her. Our news goes, see, the young lady hit her head there. She slipped on a banana peel over there. They think we're so dumb. All over the world, it's admitted they machine gunned her and the U.S. did it. And then here they tell you she slipped on a banana peel, because everybody knows the American people don't kill anybody. And then they've got the Taliban and Al-Qaeda attacking, trying to overthrow the Pakistani government. And that's the excuse to send in U.S. troops so they can destabilize the nation further and break it in 3 to 6 parts. And they got the president on NBC going, why are you funding Al-Qaeda? And he laughs and says, what's wrong with you people? Everybody in the world knows you founded Al-Qaeda and Taliban. You have them attacking us to destabilize us. And the NBC CIA op just goes, because, see, people just aren't playing along with the lies anymore. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And a lot of good old boys were like, yeah, the CIA's got to stage the terror attacks to keep the American way going. I've had a few of them, come to get in my face and do that. You know what happens if we don't stage 9/11, Alex? Then the Arabs take over the planet. They're dangerous. There are real Muslim extremists, and our country's a bunch of wimps, and they had to be gotten in line to understand the threat. Oh, is that why you always overthrow countries and put the radical Muslims in power? Because you don't want secular first world nations that could compete with your power? Whatever. The world's a tough place. You got to be tough to beat the evil. Yeah, you got to become the evil to fight the evil. One time I was going fishing with some buddies down where their boat is, and it was down where there's a bunch of yachts on Lake Travis. That's where one of these guys in the restaurant where we're eating hamburgers walks over, and later I saw him getting on his, probably one of the biggest yachts on Lake Travis, probably a $3 million, nothing big boat. And he just walked over and told me that. And I recognized him off TV from somewhere. I didn't get his card, but he was just there telling me, you know what? We did that because we needed to. I mean, these guys are just, they sit around drinking their whiskey. Yeah, gotta break a few eggs around here. The lazy Americans need to learn how to fight them Arabs. It's not about fighting Arabs so you can steal money and do whatever you want. You big fat cats that are having the feds federalize all the water to take over. It's all you guys that are raping everybody financially. You're a bunch of scum. Just stop saying you're pro-America. I mean, it's sick enough what you do. It's sick enough what you do. But then to say you did it for America, I mean, that's really disgusting. You put fluoride in our water for America? You shoot our kids up with cancer-filled injections because you love America? Like I said, I'd news blitz, and I'm out of control. All right, here it goes. I'm just going to cover news. A lot of this already hit, but just the stacks are all here. This is the stuff you never hear. And so I'm just going to read through it. Some of it I've covered, most of it I hadn't. On terrorist watch list, but allowed to buy guns. That's the New York Times saying, ban everybody being able to buy guns without judge or jury whenever the government feels like it. DOD training manual describes protest as low-level terrorism. Steve Watson, Infowars.net, links to AP, ACLU. It says anybody protesting, it's illegal, it's terrorism. Virginia State Police say anti-New World Order and gun rights activists are terrorists. They say protesting for pro-Second Amendment, you are a terrorist. Go ahead and take them in. Says they're dangerous. Here's another one. Virginia State Police designate anti-New World Order opinion as domestic terrorism. BBC is, these will all be out of order, but there's no way to go through it all. BBC is backing election riots, claims Iran. And then did you guys ever print for me where BBC admits they staged fake photos? Throw that up on screen for folks. Show them the fake. Let's just admit it. BBC, oh, it was a mistake. But actually, those people that were shot by the CIA or, oh, we're sorry. That was actually Ahmadinejad supporters. We said were the other guys. BBC is backing election riots, claims Iran. Iran continues hostility towards Western media, threatening harsher actions if interference in country's affairs continues. They've launched their fighter jets. They got their ships patrolling, ready for war. The West is saying they're getting ready to hit. Protesters gather in Iran's capital despite stern warning. And again, they legitimately are dupes. Just like the Muslims that attacked Mohammed Mossadegh when the CIA blew up their mosque and said the government had done it. And that Mossadegh was going after the Muslims because he was trying to keep them from taking over society, the radical ones, the CIA-funded ones. They had been Hitler-funded. And so they used the Muslims to overthrow them that time. And now they're going to use the young punk rock youth to overthrow the mullahs. It's just unbelievable. Protesters gather in Iran's capital despite stern warning. Now, you're not hearing a lot about this because every day this is happening. London Telegraph, tens of thousands of Chinese fight the police in Shishho. I'm pronouncing that right. And it says after the police running the drugs in the town have been murdering a bunch of people that expose government drug dealing and how government party members own all the hotels and businesses, and everybody's sick of them ruling. It says tens of thousands took to the streets, attacking police. Police, just total hysteria. It was a dramatic weekend. The relatively small city of Shishho in Hubei province. Tens of thousands of rioters torched a hotel and overturned police cars after the authorities allegedly tried to cover up the murder of a 24-year-old man and other dead bodies. And then it just goes, so they're not telling you about that. I mean, it's barely a blur, and the cops are shooting people but still getting defeated. I mean, China's on the verge of collapsing because of their corruption. And people are sick of the mullahs. Clearly in Iran, they end up owning the state-run things and making money, and they're all getting filthy rich, and their kids are decadent, and the mullahs' kids beat people up and stuff, and, you know, just classic stuff.